I'm Froggy, and here is a My Froggy Stuff mashup. This week's mashup is shoes! So you can make your dolls some new kicks. From heels to sneakers, we've got you covered. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. I am going to make a tissue box and a shoe box for a doll using a recycled cereal box, scrapbook paper, a ruler, a pencil, tissue paper, tissue, and glue. I start by cutting open a cereal box. Using a ruler, I make a rectangle. Use the ruler to extend the sides, measure and mark the same length on each extension, then draw a line connecting the markings. Cut on the outer edge, make 2 cuts on one side, then turn it around and do the opposite side. I give it a slight bend to cut a notch out of the center. Fold on the lines drawn, apply glue to the tabs, then fold them up and hold in place. To make the box, apply glue, then cover it with scrapbook paper. Recut the hole in the center, fold the pieces back to glue on the inside, cut a small square of tissue, then push it up through the inside and leave just a little hanging out. By leaving the back open, you can pull the tissue out, then replace it later. To make a shoe box, I built the box the same way, only this time I don't cut the hole in the center. I trace the box onto another piece of the cereal box. Using a ruler, I draw a line around it that is slightly wider. Continue, just as before, to make a lid for the box. Cut a small piece of tissue paper, place it inside the box, followed by the shoes, fold the paper over, put on the lid, and you're done.
Happy crafting!
I am going to make shoes for a doll using recycled cereal boxes, Mod Podge or clear school glue, a pencil, recycled computer paper, a toothpick, cardstock, clear plastic from packaging, craft paint, glitter, scraps of scrapbook paper, and glue. I start by tracing the doll's foot onto a piece of cardboard from a cereal box. Cut it out. I make sure it can fit the doll's foot when pressed against the arch. To make my pattern, I trace the pattern onto the cardboard of a cereal box, then flip it to get the other shoe. Repeat until there are 2 of each shoe, cut them out. Then I decide what kind of heel I would like to add to my shoe. I can make a small flat heel by laying the cutout onto a piece of cardboard and cut out the portion around the heel. I cut 2 for each shoe, then stack them, glue them, then glue the heel to the sole of the shoe. But if I would like to make a high heel, I press the sole of my shoe to my doll's foot to give it shape. Using a toothpick, I roll a piece of recycled computer paper into a cone. Use glue to hold it in place, trim it down to a workable size, measure and cut the heel at an angle, apply glue to the cavity, then glue it to the sole of the shoe. Using craft paint, I paint the bottom of the shoe and the heel, then allow it to dry. The other cutout of the shoe is the part where her foot touches, so I can cover it with scrapbook paper, or I can choose to paint it. I can cut thin strips of the cereal box, paint them, or I can cut thin strips of cardstock or clear plastic from packaging. Pressing the bottom of the shoe to the doll's foot, carefully wrap the strip around the doll's foot and glue into place. Add strips in different ways to make different designs for the shoes. I can add fun details to the shoes, like a bow made from a folded piece of the cereal box. I take another piece and wrap it around the center, then glue it into place. I can paint selected areas with Mod Podge or clear glue, then sprinkle with glitter. Using a hot glue gun, I glue the two pieces together, cover it with a layer of Mod Podge to make it more durable, and you're done.
Happy crafting!
I am going to make shoes for a doll using a cereal box, ribbon, felt, thread, a sewing needle, a pencil, Mod Podge or clear school glue, and glue. I start by tracing my doll's foot onto a piece of cardboard from a cereal box. And I'm just going to round out the toe a little bit more. Cut it out. Using it as a pattern, I trace another, flip it to the other side to make the other shoe. Repeat until there are two for each shoe. Cut them out. Fold a piece of the cereal box in half. I place the shoe pattern on its side, then sketch out the side of my shoe and draw the bottom. Cut it on the fold to make the pattern for the side of the shoe. I place my shoe pattern onto the cardboard, then sketch out a wide seam allowance around the front of the shoe. I go in at the sides, take it in a little bit further, and then draw straight down. Kind of looks like a mushroom, but this will be the tongue for the shoe. Cut it out. Then I set my patterns to the side. I cut strips of the remaining cardboard, 2 thin and 1 thick. Paint them with craft paint. While it's drying, I lay my pattern onto a piece of felt, cut it out. Using a needle and thread, I begin stitching along the outer edge. I continued with a double stitch around the side piece and a single stitch around the tongue. If I wanted to use a sewing machine, I would trace my pattern onto the felt with a pencil, then stitch my lines before cutting it out. With my pieces cut out and sewn, I take one of the footprints, place it onto the tongue, make small cuts around the edges, apply glue, then fold the sides over. I push my pinky into the shoe to stretch out the top a little. Since it's made of felt, it will give. I take the other piece of felt and lining the heel up with the center, I'm going to glue it around the bottom edge. I fold the bottom down and glue underneath. I glue the other foot cutout to the bottom. I take the thick strip of the painted cereal box and cut a piece that'll fit right over the tip of the shoe. I give it a slight bend and then glue it into place. Take one of the thin painted strips and glue it around the bottom edge. With gluing points at the front and back, I glue a line of thread around the bottom. Then I add another piece of the cereal box to the front. I touch it up with a little craft paint. I cover the cardboard and string with a layer of Mod Podge. Take a sewing needle with a large eye, thread it with ribbon, widen a hole with the needle, continue all the way up to lace the shoe, taking turns on the different sides. And you're done.
Happy crafting!
going to make a pair of boots for a doll like Uggs or Bear Paw using felt, craft foam, a needle and thread, paper and pencil for the pattern, and glue. I start by taking a paper and pencil, and I made a rough sketch of what the boot will look like. It will take 4 parts, so I sketch the pattern down below, starting with the bottom of the shoe, the back, the top, and the front. And I've developed this pattern through trial and error, going back and readjusting until it worked. I've included a small seam allowance, and I will make this pattern available on our blog, myfroggystuff.blogspot.com. Now I cut out the pattern, place it on felt, and cut out. Cut 2 of each to make a pair of boots. Then starting with the top and front of the boot, line up the edges. Use a needle and thread to sew a straight stitch around the curve, bending the front piece so that they continue to match up as you go around. This can be a little tricky, and I want to be neat, so I'm just taking my time. When I get to the end, I open it up and place it on top of the rectangle for the back of the shoe. Line up the edges, then sew a straight line across. These stitches will be visible, so you just want to make them as neat and as close together as possible. Then repeat on the other side. Now it is really starting to take shape. All we have to do now is sew on the bottom. I'm using a back stitch for this so that it'll look like one continuous line. To sew a back stitch, you enter a little bit in front of your prior stitch, and then you go back through right at the last one. Tie a knot on the bottom and trim off the excess. Cut an oval out of a piece of foam that is slightly smaller than the pattern for the bottom of the shoe and glue it to the felt to make a basic pair of boots. And these are a perfect fit for Project MC Square dolls. They can fit monster high, however they'll be walking around on their tiptoes. The same goes for Ever After High dolls. However, when it comes to our Barbies, they are a little loose. So I take a sock, turn it inside out, place the doll's leg inside, pinch it firmly, sew a straight stitch following the back of the leg, trim it, turn it inside out to make a sock, helping it to fit. I can take it a step further by cutting a thin strip of fleece, gently pull the ends to make a fuzzy cording. Glue it around the back, trim it on the other side, glue another line starting at the bottom, then going up and around the front, then down the other side. Add buttons or bows to customize it, and you're done.
Happy crafting!
The Christmas tree brings to us all both joy and glee. Oh Christmas tree, your candles shine so brightly. Hey,
Thank you for joining us for this My Froggy Stuff mashup. Let us know what mashups you would like to see in the comments down below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell and follow us on Instagram at My Froggy Stuff and the Frog Vlog. And we will see you next time. Bye!